What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho Things. So, here's the kicker. You're gonna see the same outfit for weeks to come. It's because I'm filming these type of videos all at once because Logan once enough was kind enough to let me shoot some shotgun in his property. It's a Sunday, probably the neighbors are gonna hate us, but we're gonna get this done all at once, but I'm not gonna be able to edit all of it at once because otherwise this video is gonna be like 2 hours long, so we're not gonna do that. So this is how this is gonna go. I'm gonna try an array of shells. Reason being is this year is difficult to put the hands on Boss shot shells for obvious reasons, and if you don't know why, you can go to Boss website and kind of understand. In between the tariffs and the acquisition of the metal is kind of hard to put the hands on the shells, so I'm having to go back to steel. So I don't know, I'm gonna try different steel shots and see what pattern's better from my Müller choke tubes. That's what I'm gonna be using today, and logically the season, but I'm gonna start with one shell at a time, and we're gonna go through each distance with the decoy, the passing, and the UFO, and we're gonna put them on target on paper. So the target paper, if you, this is the first time you see one of my videos doing a pattern video, I don't count pellets, I don't do any of that. So if that's kind of like what you're looking at, this is not gonna be the video for you. What I do is I put that on paper just in a regular scenario, how I normally shoot when I'm hunting, freestanding. There's no benches, no presses, no nothing. I just put it on paper so I can see what the choke tube and the shell are kind of doing, so I know what to expect in the field, adding the circumstances of wind and movement and everything. So all the shells that I'm going to be using are 3-inch number 2s, and we're going to see how this pattern on paper. Alright, so today we're going to be doing the Winchester experts, and we're going to be doing the decoy, the passing, and the UFO. This is also the first time I got to shoot with the glasses on, so alright, this shell and I, we have stories together. Kent's decoy, 30 yards. Find a hole. Touch high. These are patterns, you know. I used these shells for a long time, and the reason why I stopped using them was because they didn't have enough power. Steel issues, but patterns okay. Pull the shot a little bit up on this one. Cans passing 45 yards. Find a hole. Yeah, that's exactly what I remember. A little patchy, but all in all, it's by far one out of all these shells that I shot the best. Can't. This patchiness is why I had so many people. Can't. UFO, 50 yards. Find a hole. I'll pull that one up. That's super patch. Yeah. This is why I end up with Boss. Alright, so this is UFO, 50 yards, Kent's BBs. I never shot a BB out of this. So apparently, these should tie up. I have no idea, but here we go. Find a hole. Yeah, it's not bad. Little patches, but not bad for a 50-yard shot. That's tight. I like that. Alright, we're gonna pick this up at the house and go over. The GoPro started failing, the other camera failed because it was too hot. So I'll fill in the gaps. Logan, once again, thank you so very much, dude.
Yes, sir.
And we're at the house. Alrighty, so before we start here, I wanna say something that we noticed as we finished shooting all the shells. The backdrop of where we were shooting is a slightly angle on the top. And initially, face forward, the angle doesn't seem as much. When you look sideways, it's really, really leaning. Which I don't know if yay or nay is gonna have an effect. I do believe it will. If you throw a shot to a target and it's impacting right here, and you have this bent backwards, it's gonna throw the shot higher than if it was flat, right? Because there's a little bit more chance for it to keep spreading forward up, not necessarily sideways. So I just putting that in there because some of the shots I threw them up, and some of the shell shot up, and I feel that it looks super high in paper, but I don't think it's because that the shell is shooting way too tall. I think it's that angle that makes it look worse. So we're gonna have to play with this. Unfortunately, I already had sent all the shells, so unfortunately we're gonna have to adjust like that impact. The shotgun is cheap. This shotgun and those choke tubes, Müller choke tubes, are shooting perfect pattern 60-40 on all three choke tubes perfectly with Boss 3-inch 3.5 stack and 3 and number 4s, shooting beautiful patterns. If you want to see it, I got a video here. My shotgun is already fitted and shimmed. Everything is nice. Alrighty, so if you're interested on trying for yourself the Müller choke tubes, use this coupon. That's gonna save you some money. Go and try it out, put the hands on a couple of those choke tubes and see what they can do with your configuration. So there we go. All right, Kent's fasteel. These were the shells that I used when I first started dove hunting, because it was pretty much one of the few decently priced shells that I could find where I lived. So these were the first shells. These shells with my Supernova and Carlson choke tubes is good. The penetration power and distance, limited as it is with steel, but it's really good. Now, when I bought my Super Black Eagle 3 and the Carlson choke tubes, not so great, really patchy. I had an issue with the mid-range and long-range Carlson. It's just something that just happened. But these guys, I'm really well aware of how they perform. So nothing different here. I had pretty much the same results that I had always. So the major complaint that I have with this was patchiness and follow-up shots. Wounded, and I would have had to have repeat shots just to make sure that the bird was dispatched on a timely manner. So here we go. Kent's with the Müller decoy, 30 yards. As we explained before, the angle of the backdrop. I'm gonna bring this whole thing down a couple of inches. So we bring this whole down to a couple of inches. It's gonna put us around. This whole thing right here will be probably around here. So not that bad, but if you bring that down, you're still gonna have a massive, massive hole here. Massive. And a lot here and a lot here, which is consistent with what I was getting with Kent's the entire time. Let's go now with the passing so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, with the passing, here we go. Same thing, we bring this down a couple of inches. This is probably gonna drop to around here, this around here. So you still have patch here, somewhere around here. You're gonna have a patch here, massive hole over here, and and another patch right here. This will drop probably somewhere around here. So the change is not gonna be that much. Now you're still gonna notice some flyers. This is the Müller passing decoy, 45 yards. Not that much different than what I was getting in the past. So same thing, you're gonna see a couple of flyers. Once we drop this couple of inches, then this becomes flyer as well on the bottom as well as on top. So pretty much consistency with the way that shell performed with my configuration. So Is it terrible? No, you can get birds with this. Unfortunately, just that patchiness will result more likely if a bird you're taking a shot that's a little bit farther out. That's going to result on quite some follow-up shots. Not only because of the shell is performing this way, because it's not a terrible performance, but it's also steel. So you have that in configuration. Not a bad shell compared to other ones that I have tried. This shell is a good number 2, number 3 shell that I will, if I have options, I will go with. It's not a bad shell. It's not a bad shell, period. So I'm gonna go now to the UFO. All right, Ken's shells with the UFO, Müller UFO 50 yards. Once again, we bring this down. This is gonna come down to about here. Big patch here, big bold patch here. This is gonna compensate a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit better looking here, but you're still gonna have a massive, big old hole down here. This is gonna, notice the flyers. This is probably gonna drop about here, but you're still gonna have quite a few flyers there, a few flyers there, flyers here, flyer here. So, would you take a bird that distance with this configuration? Yes. Unfortunately, it's a steel, and because of the amount of patchiness, there's gonna be a lot of follow-up shots. And depending how far did you sell them, because if you're taking a shot that at a 50 yards, you're gonna, if you're up, you're gonna sell it a little bit, and if you're in this, coming from the side, you know, this trajectory and the speed, you're probably gonna sell the bird pretty good. So there's gonna be a lot of follow-up shots after that. But that's something that I always had with the configuration. Now with the Supernova, the Benelli Supernova wasn't that terrible. It was okay, but is with this one, my configuration, the results are really consistent on this shell. Which, hey, gotta give it to them. They got consistency. Well, as I said, it's not a bad shell. Little fast on the speed. That's 1560 per second. So that might have a little bit of something to do with the speed and the Müller choke tubes. Müller choke tubes, they're not really happy with really fast loads. I'm not saying that other fast loads don't perform properly. I'm just saying, for the most part, that's something that I noticed. The faster the shell, the patterns can be quite irregular. So that's something to keep in mind on. So somebody asked me in the past how my UFO will pattern with BB, with size BBs. So I'm gonna show you next. All right, UFO 50 yards with BB. Somebody asked me how BB size shells performed on the UFO. So this is a 50 yards, and it so happened to be Kent's. The only BBs that I have in my possession, they're Kent's. So I'm gonna show you how that looked. So funny enough, with BBs on the Müller UFO at a 50 yards, the pattern is better. Pattern is nice. It's not perfect, but it's better. Few flyers. We'll start there, but on and all, somewhat evenly distributed. I have a patch here when this drops down a little bit. Patch here, patch about here, patch here. Maybe a touch of a patch over there. But all in all, have more vivid distribution that we were having with the number 2s. So there it goes. If you wanted to know how BBs do with the UFO, there we go. Not bad. I'm pretty sure that if we shoot something with a little bit less velocity, that pattern will improve a little bit more, and it will be a solid pattern. So if I had to choose BBs with my UFO, for sure, they're looking good. So, cans, fasteel, not bad. As I mentioned before, that will be a number 2 or 3 for me. If there's nothing else for me to shoot and I have to rely on a shell, that will be my number 2, number 3. Which I got one more shell to show you guys how that performed, and then I'm gonna talk to you about the shell that I picked to be the shell that I'm gonna be using this season, and I'm also gonna talk on what my other options of everything that we have shot so far will be. and that will wrap that up. So thank you so very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload another video, and I will see you in the next one. This video is being filmed right after I already have shot the teal opener. By the way, it was phenomenal. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Pancho out.